Hello and welcome to our second podcast in series. Today we are talking about female role models and who empowers you in this society.
For me personally, I would say it's someone who is the best person that they can be. So a woman that's standing by her morals, beliefs, fighting for them, or not, hopefully she doesn't have to fight, but strong in her beliefs and morals.
Yeah, determined to kind of get where she wants to be and kind of motivate you to do the same, I guess.
To me it's, I want to be that person and they're already doing what I want to do, so I sort of look up to them and so my beliefs and my values are aligned, and obviously I put in my how I can sort of get there, so I can sort of follow them and learn from that person.
Do you think it's important to have a role model then?
Definitely, so it keeps you going, and you can tell yourself that you can do it. If you see someone actually doing it, you can tell that yes, you can do it as well.
I think that's quite a key one for me in terms of role model, someone that's got the experience, not necessarily in what you've done in life, but that life experience. They've kind of been through some struggles, or they've had some really good times and they've learned from it. So someone that's not just been in the public eye all the time. It could be someone not famous or someone not known well, but they have the value, they've been through life, they understand the struggles and challenges that we all go through, and they've come through it, and they can kind of inspire you to do the same thing.
I would agree and say that generally my role models aren't famous people.
No, mine aren't.
They're people here at work, people in the family. It's Lauren. But it's bits and pieces of those people. And you aspire
to.
Yeah,
because I would say I don't have a particular role model in mind. I mean, my mum kind of told me how to be a woman, like unapologetically, like saying that there's no kind of set way to be a woman, just be yourself and be unapologetic, and things will come to you in life. But in terms of kind of who I look up to, I'd say obviously famous people have done so much with their lives and they have a platform to be able to do that. But for me, I think if I just continue to be myself, which my mum has taught me, I will just kind of try and be challenged with what I don't know, like the path that I'm kind of set on, if that makes sense. Like I don't want to try to be anyone else. I don't want to say, oh, so-and-so's done this specific thing, I'm going to do that. I guess I need the motivation to kind of go onto my own path.
Me too. My mum was a single parent most of my life. I'm a single parent now, so she's been through kind of the same struggles that I'm going through or have been through, and I've kind of learned from that. And as a child, she massively taught me that yes, having a partner or having anyone around you, whether that's friends, family, is great, but ultimately you've got to stand up for yourself. And kind of no matter how hard life gets, the only thing that you need to kind of be working towards is that you're making a better life for your child. So for me, with my little girl, she's my role model, even though she's younger than me, because she's teaching me new things every day. She's teaching me how to kind of move on in life and just wake up in the morning and get up. Sometimes I have days where she makes me get out of bed physically and emotionally, and my mum's taught me that. She's had the strength to, she's been through some tough times, and as have I have. So my mum is mine for sure. And in terms of career and professionalism, she's done very well in her life whilst being a single mum. So for me, that's kind of, I'm aspiring to be the same. So I'm not kind of a come in, do a 9 to 5 and go home. I've got aspirations to progress quite high in life, and I think without my mum having doing that, I wouldn't have the same kind of
Do you think that, so I don't know if this is off topic or not, but do you think that having a strong role model, if you like, say it is your mum, but say your mum is successful, etc., there's some people that might fall by the wayside though, or feel that is something they can't live up to?
Yes, it's challenging, because sometimes I compare myself to my mum and think, am I doing enough for what she was doing at her age? So I get that. and my grandparents are similar, so they're always pushing us to do better, which I think is, again, what's pushed my mum. So there are people that sometimes envy their parents in terms of I need to be able to get there, and they do fall by the wayside.
Or feel like they can't ever
live up to that. Yeah, no, absolutely. But I think
sorry.
No, it's fine, Karen.
I think there's a fine line between role models and comparing yourself. And I think you really need to look up to someone, and if you respect someone, then you won't compare yourself. But it's really tricky, like what you were saying about looking up to parents. I do have in my head that I need to be more successful than my parents. Like, they're not just a role model for me, but they're kind of an aspiration or a goal that I have to
Outdo them.
I have to outdo them, because, you know, down the line, you know, the line needs to get richer and richer and richer.
But is that all it's about, though, is the money?
No.
Because for me,
No, it's not
my
about
aspirations
money.
isn't necessarily about
No.
like earning more than my mum earns at this age. It's having that life experience and that skill to manage stuff.
No, definitely, it's well rounded. I don't know why.
I think it maybe is a natural
necessarily
generation after generation thing. So, for example, my sister was one of the first to go to university, and now, as the generations have moved on, it's possibly expected that her children will go to university, and so it's almost of doing better than your parents in that you've probably got more opportunity than they had, possibly.
But it's weird, because I'm the opposite of that. So my mum had secondary education and further education, and I didn't go to uni. I started working at England when I was 17, so I didn't go to uni. I don't feel like my child, like any, should go to university or not. I'm not bothered whether she does or not, because I don't think, and again, that's probably another question, especially being a woman in technology and in business, is you don't have to go to uni to get a decent job, but obviously it helps, and obviously education is important, but I wouldn't push Ellie to, you have to go to uni because I didn't go, or you have to go because your nan did, or whatever. But I do think it's like competition. Like, me and my sister used to outdo each other all the time. She's like a year older than me, so it was kind of she got better GCSEs than me, and I was gutted, and now I'm like, well, I'm doing better in life, so he didn't do it. No, I'm joking. My family on both sides are very different, so taking those good bits from each side and then applying it to myself, and I'm sometimes quite blunt and a bit open and loud, which is not always good, but then learning how to properly manage that is part of learning about life, right?
Yeah, exactly. I can definitely see aspects from my mum and aspects from my dad in me, and I'm still trying to work that out, like what exactly it is. But you know, I think if you recognise that you are part of them, you should look up to them and treat them as a role model, because you can also learn from their behaviour as well. I think that's very important. In
past generations, for a mum, the mum probably would have had the added pressure of other people looking at her and thinking, oh my God, you're leaving your child.
Yeah.
You know?
I still get it now. Like, people still judge me now. They're like, you're leaving your kid for a week. I'm like, I'm not just leaving her. She's with her dad. Like, she's with someone. She's saved. I'm just going to leave her at home by herself. But I think there is a lot of pressure now in terms of juggling what was a woman's role, and then more, and then more and more.
I do think future generations are going to just balance it a lot better, and not have maybe not have as much guilt, because it's how society is.
It's that middle generation of the guilt is probably more so than the benefit.
It's the transition between this is what a woman should have been towards a future of this is what women can be, and there's like a limbo, because there are women that are handling it really well, you know, they don't care about opinions, but majority of women, they do struggle, because, you know, they don't live in isolation, they have opinions flying about them, they have their family, they have like conflicting interests and stuff, and I think the next generation will learn to live with it more, mainly because we come out of that transition phase, and I'm not saying everything will be rosy, because there will be another transition, you know, the opinions and society is always changing, so...
I think that's a key point, though, is that actually we probably look at those people that are our role models and think they've got it together, and they've got it sussed, and they know what they're doing, and I'm like, everyone I come across as being quite positive and confident, and actually I'm the most insecure person I know, but you wouldn't know
when
that.
You get to speak to people, then you can pretty quickly learn that everything's not always
Rosy and green, yeah, absolutely.
It makes me think now that I remember growing up, my mum never had any days off, even on a weekend. So she used to work a lot. And then I was like, if I have a child, maybe I will be there for more. And I remember saying this to her, and I feel horrible now, given that how difficult it is. But I think that's what sort of made me to work more hard and be more ambitious. And never, so I think that's what made me who I am. But but I do feel bad for saying that as well.
But the flip of that actually is it encourages you, with my little girl especially, she's got an amazing social life because she interacts with a lot of more with my family than she would if it was just me at home by myself.
Right.
She gets to see her aunties and her uncles and her grandparents probably more frequent than other children because they support and help me look after her, but also after school clubs and things like that, she's probably got more friends than she would if she just came home at 3 o'clock and just was at home playing.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a good thing, but I do think it's, because I definitely thought I'm never going to work as much as my mum, but then the flip side of that is I want to do as well as she did, so it's hard.
So do you think a role model, you take the good and the bad and you learn from it? So a role model doesn't just have to exhibit perfect behaviour, but it's a role model is someone who you learn from.
I think if they try and come across as perfect people who think they are role models, they're not attractive as role models. Because you kind of think
you can't relate to them at all.
Everyone's winging it, right? No one's taught how to live life. No one's taught how to juggle being a mum or being working full time or whatever. It's just everyone's just winging it. But I think the perception is that those people that come across as doing well is that they've got it together.
Yeah,
but they're winging it. They've got their own challenges and their own struggles. They just hide it better than someone else.
There's no strategy to be successful, and as much as it's amazing how successful people are kind of sharing their success stories and how people can get to the level that they are, there's no manual, and no one can truly say they know exactly what went right in their lives for them to get where they are.
Yeah, was it luck? Was it something that you actually did? Like with my little girl, the biggest thing I encourage her to do is don't let anyone tell you can't do something. Because if you've been told constantly you can't do this or you're not ready for this, until you step out your comfort zone, you're never going to grow as a person. And I've experienced the same thing. Like I've been told you're not ready for this or you're not ready for that, and you go for it, you get it, or you don't get it, you learn from it, and then you can build on that. And that's how you do grow, and that's how you accomplish more. Yeah. So the biggest thing for my daughter is don't be told no. Like challenge things, go for it, step outside your comfort zone in a good way. And if you grow as a person, you do. If not, then you need to learn from it, because then you're still growing as a person, right?
Definitely. I can definitely say from first-hand experience that I didn't let anything stop me. You know, my mum taught me to be an unapologetic woman who, wouldn't take no for an answer. And all throughout school, you know, I was handed like kind of hairdressing leaflets and told that I wouldn't get to sixth form. I even got took aside after some classes just before GCSE, and teachers actually said to me, "Don't take this for GCSE because you will drag the average down." And you know, I went to sixth form, I got A's, I got into a really good uni, and I wouldn't have gone that far if it weren't for the people that told me no. And if they'd have just said, I guess if they'd have just been kind of set me aside and said I can do what I want, I wouldn't have had that drive to actually prove them wrong.
Yeah, this is the whole, do you need a bit of adversity in your life to make you
exactly.
I'm often thinking about that, you know.
Because I'm glad I was told no, because like you say, that's pushed you over. If you're always told yes, then you're not living your life, you're living someone else's, right?
But would you still call those people that told you no role models? You know, they were quite harsh, would you call them role models?
Absolutely. There's male role models in my life that have told me no throughout my career, and I still consider them a role model, because actually what I emotionally may have perceived as them saying no because I am who I am, actually it's not, because when they said no the first time, it probably wasn't the best time for me. There was things I needed to do, but eventually you grow from it. So I do think you need a bit of both. You need a bit
might have resented it at the time, but upon reflection you sort of understand where they were coming from.
And that's then helped shape me as a person and help me grow. You need a bit of yes and no.
Yeah, definitely. And it's about having that drive within you to kind of withstand all that criticism and keep going and understand that everyone has your best interests at heart. You know, just because they've said no, it doesn't mean that it's no forever. It's just that, you know, there, like you said, certain avenues that you have to go through, certain hurdles, and people aren't stupid. They know that if they tell you no and they critique you, it's going to drive you to be a better person.
But I think it's that person knowing you enough to be able to tell that if they tell you no, it's not going to emotionally damage you, that you're going to sit in a little corner and cry because you're not good enough. But there are people that have those moments when you're told no, and I've driven home from work crying one day because someone's told me no, and I'm like, think about it now, I'm like, you're stupid. But it's knowing because I'm strong.
Relative to self-esteem.
Yeah, but then because I'm a strong person, I can quite easily get over that. But there's others that aren't that strong of a person, and they actually will take that really personally.
Plus your support network too. Your self-esteem might be low, but if you're lifted, you know, talk to people.
Yeah.
There's a recent film called On the Basis of Sex, and it's about this, I can't remember what year it's set, but it's like 80s, 90s. And this lady goes to university with her boyfriend, and she's trying to train to become a lawyer, and they both graduate. Her partner gets really poorly, so she sits her classes and his. They graduate when he overcomes the illness, and then he gets a job at like this top firm because obviously he's just done really well. She's like top in her class, and she just can't get a job anywhere because they're like, no, you're female. But she overcomes it. She then starts off as like unpaid, doing kind of ad hoc stuff, and then one by one she tries to change like the laws in the US and it's all based on same sex. There's a guy who didn't receive carer's allowance because for his mother he wasn't a female, so she changes that law. But it's not just about changing laws for females, it's about changing laws for male as well, because he was a guy and he didn't get carer's allowance for his mum because he was male. So it works both ways, and there's a lot of men out there that it's a similar challenge, right? It's not just about females, it's about anyone, equality in general, whether you're male or female. But that was a good film.
Kind of goes back to what you were saying about how role models can be female or male. You know, that just because you're a man or just because you're a woman, it doesn't mean that you have a certain set of skills that's mutually exclusive.
Yeah, I think having a male model as well, being a female, will help, because in such a male-dominated world that I work within, or we all work within, it's good to pick up some of those traits from those men, because actually they've got far in life and they've done really well. Not just because they're male, because they're great at who they are as a person, whether they're male or female or whatever. But sometimes having not a male trait, because that sounds weird, but having some of those traits that men have actually is a good thing to have as a female.
Yeah, I definitely think it's quite sad to think that there isn't anything to take from an industry that's necessarily male dominated, because I think with the perception of male dominated industries that men have got there without working hard, it's just a different ball game, and women don't work any less, but there's a lot that they can take from men in that industry, because you know they do have experience, they do have the life skills, they do know what they're doing.
I don't come across, I mean, I don't know if it's the same for you guys, but I don't come across discrimination in this industry because you're a woman. No. It's just not necessarily the women that want to push on up.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's just there are fewer women at the moment.
You want it, you can have it. But it depends if you do. You know, if you do want to push yourself, and possibly that as you get higher up, it is perceived that you won't get the work-life balance. Maybe.
I think there's a fine line, because I think there's certain opportunities that I haven't taken, and I put it on myself. I'm not going to get that because I'm female, or I can't get to that level because I'm female. In cloud especially, we've got a female. She's very senior in our industry, and she's one of my role models, because she's not just because she's female, because she's done the role, she's worked her way up. She hasn't just walked in and taken over. She's done really well, but there's a fine line. I think it definitely happens. I know it does, but I don't think necessarily I have experienced it as heavy as it could have been. But I think I've held myself back sometimes, and that's again down to sometimes.
There's that thing about the better women do, the more guilty they feel. So if you're doing really well and you're successful, some people will say that you'll turn around and say, I'm going to get found out. Yeah. Men don't necessarily have that.
It's imposter syndrome. Right.
And even in terms of more senior roles, especially within our industry, you travel more. And for me, the biggest skill I have is travelling. And I love to travel, and I enjoy travelling, but could I do a job where I'm not in the country for 3 weeks of the
It is
month?
really-
No.
it is.
So actually, it is hard. It's hard to balance that, and there's a bit of guilt in there as well.
I remember watching this movie called Hidden Figures. Not sure if you watched it, but it's about
Heard about
these,
it.
so these women, how they put a man on the moon and they
Oh,
did all the
I've seen it.
calculation, they were the mathematicians behind the whole project, but they were never mentioned. So talking about role models being famous, but they were never famous, and they never had any role models, and they were constantly said no every step of their way. And how especially Mary Jackson was said no because she hasn't taken advanced classes in engineering. So back then it wasn't allowed for them to go to uni, and so that's when she says that there is this first man in the moon, there has to be me who will be the first person to attend uni, and then the rest is history. So that's really motivating to see that, how amazing it is, someone who doesn't take no for an answer and then keep going, and that's really motivating. And
I've really enjoyed chatting about role models and really interested to see your opinions of it. And join us for next week where we talk about #Balance for Better.
Thank you.
Thank you.
thank you.